call to order this meeting of the Warren County School Board for Wednesday, August 1st, 2018. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. The first item on the agenda is to accept or modify the agenda. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion we accept the agenda as written or presented.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Community participation. Is there anyone who would like to address the board? Consent agenda. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I make a motion the consent agenda be approved as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Reports. Instruction report. Ms. Rudisil.
Good evening. This summer, we were able to offer a summer enrichment program to upcoming 4th and 5th grade students from E. Wilson Morrison Elementary School and Ressie Jeffries Elementary School. The program was held at Ressie Jeffries, and students attended once per week for 6 weeks. The program was totally funded using Title IV federal grant dollars, and it was designed and implemented to be a true enrichment program where the kids could be involved in lots of fun activities over the course of the summer. So I'm very pleased to have with us this evening Ms. Rita Warner and Mrs. Jessica Ryan, who were the coordinators of the program, and they're just going to show you a little bit of what the kids did this summer.
Hi, everyone. So we met every Wednesday from 8:30 to 1:30 with the children, and every Wednesday except for, of course, the week of 4th of July. We couldn't go on that Wednesday. And when we were coming up with the ideas, we tried to think of fun things only to make it truly an enrichment opportunity and maybe things that the children hadn't experienced before. So on our first day, we did an old school field day, which was three-legged races, potato sack races, badminton, frisbee, croquet, those kinds of things. Of course, we threw things in there that the kids were familiar with, like kickball, volleyball, foursquare, the water balloon toss, those kinds of things. So some of their favorites were the tug of war, of course, because they wanted to compete. They also liked the water balloon toss. That was a favorite. What was the other? Volleyball. The volleyball, because we did some stuff indoors as well, so they weren't outside the whole entire time. Our first day was our best day as far as participation. We had 56 participants. And as soon as the slide comes up, we'll show you how many of those were from Ressie and from E. Wilson. Sorry. But the kids definitely were exposed to some new things. I had children who'd never thrown a Frisbee before, so that was interesting. So as you can see, there were 59% from Ressie and 41% from E. Wilson on that day. Your turn.
Okay, our second day was a STEM day, and we just incorporated a lot of STEM activities for the kids to participate with. We did watermelon volcanoes. They made solar ovens to cook s'mores, snake bubbles. Then we had some marshmallow and toothpick towers. Catapults.
Floating castles.
Yes. In STEM, they usually do at school as well, but we kind of, we incorporated the food element into it, so they really enjoyed that. This was our second best day for attendance. attendance was 50 participants that day.
Yep.
And 68% of them were from Ressie and 32 were from E. Wilson. And some of their favorites were the bubble snakes, the watermelon volcanoes, and then of course the solar ovens because they got to eat the s'mores. We did have a little bit of ant infestation in some of the solar oven boxes, but we made it through okay with that.
So our third day, we took a field trip to the Museum of the Shenandoah Valley to see the Lego exhibit. While we were there, we got to walk through the gardens as well as see some of the Lego models. I don't know if any of you've gotten the opportunity to see those, but they're amazing. We also were able to go upstairs in the museum as well, and we saw Native American art, some small houses that were models, which were very interesting and intricate. And the kids really liked all of the models, but their favorites were definitely the spider that was hanging from the tree, the deer family, and the turtle, because they really liked the turtle. They were intrigued because it had a finch that was on its back, and you really couldn't see it unless you looked really close. There's the spider hanging from the tree, and they really liked them all. They were very interested in how many Legos each one took, and questioned, our tour guide as far as what would happen if I touched it. And we were like, don't. We don't want to know. So we had 49 participants on that day, 71% from Russie and 29% from E. Wilson.
Okay, on our fourth day, we also took a field trip to Andy Guest to the Shenandoah River State Park. Here, the students were able to hike along, or the participants, I should say, hike along the river. We talked about different animal skulls and hides that we might see in the area. I learned a lot of information too there. Like, I wasn't aware there were river otter that were 6 feet long almost. When you stretch out their hide, it was amazing. But they were also able to get into the river and look for organisms.
They didn't find a lot.
Yeah, no.
They found a lot of shells.
They were enjoying kind of getting to wade in the water and swim around a little bit. But we had 36 participants. This was the day right after the 4th of July. 67% were from Ressie and 33% were from E. Wilson. And one of their favorite things was meeting Bob and Green Bean, 2 snakes that they have at the park that they let the kids touch.
Oh, nice.
The adults could touch them too. So day five was a fine arts day, and we invited some of our Warren County teachers, Ms. Francis and Mr. McClure, to come in. Ms. Francis did a creative writing with them, and Mr. McClure brought in some musical instruments, and then Kristen McCullough from Taps, etc., did some dance with them. And then some of our support staff did some improvisational task with them to get that drama piece in there. I was actually kind of surprised at how much the boys like to participate in the dance. I thought they would kind of like kick and scream doing it, but they were all into it and really seemed to like it. So we had 37 participants that day, 70% from Russie, 30 from E. Wilson, and they really liked the musical instruments and the dancing, believe it or not.
All right, our 6th day was an arts and crafts day, and once again, we invited some teachers from within the county, some current and some former teachers to help us out. Mrs. Michael, the art teacher at Hilda Barber and Ressie, did a paint night experience with them, a directed painting. Donna Hines also assisted them in making fleece blankets. We painted rocks that day.
We made tie-dyed shirts as well.
Shirts, yep. And our attendance for that day was 39 participants, with 69% of them coming from Ressie and 31% coming from E. Wilson. It was really interesting when they were tying those fleece blankets. You really learn a lot about what kids know and you just assume they know how to do it. And some of them, it was a struggle, so it was really a good opportunity for us to sit down and help them and teach them. And they really enjoyed the painting with Mrs. Michael, and then the fleece blanket. And some of them are real sweet about it. I'm gonna make this for my grandma for Christmas, or I'm making this fleece blanket for my brother at home. It was very sweet.
But we did decide that next year, if we do the blankets, it will be for the dogs at the humane shelter because they're smaller.
Because we had to cut all the
Because we had to cut those blankets. Just saying.
That's a great idea.
So our last day, we had a cooking day, and the children were able to cook some things for their parents that came that night to actually have dinner with us. So we made chocolatey clear cake, Rice Krispie treats, a pasta salad, some baked beans, and iced tea and lemonade.
And then the participants also decorated tablecloths that covered the tables for the dinner that we had later that night. And the dinner, we had, I think, over 120 people show up, and we fed them, and everyone was very, thankful. They really enjoyed it. They liked the idea that their children had prepared it. That day, we had 34 participants, 76 from Ressie, and 24% from E. Wilson. All right, so we gave the participants a survey on the last day, just to kind of gauge what they liked and did not like about the summer enrichment camp. Their favorite day was the cooking day. Some other favorite days were the STEM day, the old school field day, and the Lego exhibit. 91% of them said that they had fun. 89% said that they had made a new friend. 89% also said that if we had it again next year, that they would attend.
Some of the things they suggested for next year, and this was support staff as well as some of the participants, was visiting the pool, paper mache, more outside activities, slime, space day, and visiting the Discovery Museum.
All right, so moving forward, thinking if we were to do this next summer, some suggestions we had as directors, having days, instead of once a week, we felt that it's good to have them doing something every week. But for us to build a relationship and see if they really were making social growth, which, was a big piece of this, it was really hard to do that. So we thought maybe having 2 weeks, simultaneous days would also help on our transportation issues that we ran into, because parents would kind of understand, this is the schedule. It would also, help us build that rapport with the participants, because we really didn't, we knew the students. I had a easier time knowing the students because I work at Ressie, but for Ms. Werner and some of the support staff who are not at either E. Wilson or Ressie, it was kind of, harder to build that rapport with the students.
And it was also kind of difficult because a lot of the times I think the parents were forgetting that it was on Wednesday. We were getting a lot of texts and emails, So Jess and I both felt like if it was together, like consecutive days as opposed to 1 day a week, that might help because they know those 2 weeks, they're going to be doing that camp or whatever. The other thing we kind of thought was time management. We were trying to squeeze as much in there as we could in that one day, and 8:30 to 1:30 is not a huge chunk of time. So maybe if we had it spread out together, not spread out, maybe we wouldn't have had all the arts and crafts in one day. Maybe had one art one day, a craft another day, and the children would have been able to get outside more or in the gym more. The boys especially really were craving that and asking for that. So maybe we could have spread it out a little bit more and had known better how to do that kind of thing. So just want to thank everyone that helped us. Our summer program staff, the custodial staff at Ressie was very helpful. The office staff and the administrators at Ressie were also very helpful and really accommodated us. The food service provided our lunches for us every week for the children, and transportation helped us get the kids there who could not get there on their own. And then, of course, Lisa Rudisil and Donna Strickler and all the parents and participants. It was a wonderful experience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for the nice presentation.
Thank you.
Really good.
Yeah, I would just say thank you very much for doing this. Lisa sang your praises all summer long, I'll say that. And I know, as everyone else does, it's the leadership that makes a difference in a program like that. So thank you for what you did in helping our kids.
My only comment on the consecutive days, I think that would be better for the students, but it's going to be a lot more work for
Yes.
teachers, getting it all organized.
Yeah, we thought about that too.
We are hoping to be able to expand the program next summer. We just found out that we received quite a large additional amount of Title IV funding, so, I mean, to the tune of like $38,000 more. So we're hoping that we can run potentially 2 sessions over the summer, so 2 two-week sessions. Students would either be able to come to the first session, the second session, or both sessions. And so with vacations, things like that, we'll be able to offer more, but more flexibility as well.
Was 50 a good number as far as being able to manage them all?
Yeah, we actually had almost 80 students show interest at the beginning. But yeah, we had plenty of staff and with read and I also, it was very
Workable.
manageable.
And there were some who were only able to come like once, but they came.
Yeah.
And then there were some who, came to all 8. So it was just, dependent on their schedules as well. And some, like the basketball camps kind of threw a wrench in a couple of weeks. And so there were different things that kind of hindered some of them coming, but yeah.
That was great, thank you.
Do you have a percentage of how many came for all 8 sessions?
It would be easy enough for us
Yeah,
to figure out, but.
Yeah.
I don't have that, we don't have
We-
that now.
Yeah, we had to keep quite a bit of data since it's a federal grant program, then we had to keep quite a bit of attendance and satisfaction and growth data, that kind of thing. So we can definitely let you know that.
Love the idea of the old school field day. I think that's really nice to bring that kind of stuff back.
They did a fabulous, fabulous job. They really, really did.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Memories for me.
Segues. Superintendent report, Mr. Drescher.
All right, thank you very much. Well, our new teachers have arrived as of Monday. We have, and other professional staff, we have, I believe it's 72. Am I right on that? I think it's 72 new professional staff. Just as a reminder, all of the teachers return this coming Monday. So we're back in business. This coming Tuesday at 4 p.m., I just would remind everyone, we sent invitations out to a number of folks, but it's open to anyone that can come, is the ribbon cutting for Ressie Jeffries to kind of dedicate that building. So at 4 p.m. on Tuesday is happening. Just a couple of comments on some things that have happened this year. Last year, we created a new position. I think it was last year. They're starting to run together already. Our family engagement coordinator, is that right? And the primary job, there's different things that Jenny does for us, but was to find eligible students for our VPI program and to help us with our preschool, and then to also just family engagement in general. And I just want to say that this position is more than paid for itself. It was a chance that we took to do that, but our VPI program, Virginia Preschool Initiative, expanded, and we're off to a great start this year. In fact, I talked to Jenny the other day. She said there's a waiting list. Made her feel bad because she couldn't get everybody in. So that's a lot of credit goes to her and to the folks that helped that program go. Jenny had an idea, and you got a little flyer there. Mr. Hirsch kind of helped with this as well. About bringing our kids that may not be able to get a haircut before school start in on Sunday. And you said you have 4 stylists that have donated their time, and they're going to come, is it to 15th Street, Diversified Minds? And they can come and get a haircut. So I thought they've got the word out to everybody, and it's open, and I guess pretty much anybody that wanted to come could. So we're going to cut a lot of hair.
How did they get the message out?
I think Jenny has her ways of doing that. I don't know if she called people, emails, sent. Help that happen. So that was just a really neat idea that she had learned about and brought it to us, and Mr. Hirsch said, yeah, absolutely, let's do it. So that was great. In a few minutes, you're going to be reviewing, and I know you're going to approve a program for E. Wilson Morrison students, that they will be able to get breakfast and lunch at no charge this upcoming year and for the next number of years. And this is a federal program that's available for all qualifying schools, and E. Wilson Morrison is the only school that really qualifies for this at this time in Warren County. So, but we're really happy to do that. You're going to hear a little bit more about it when Mrs. Shepherd speaks with you, but I just want to kind of highlight that as well. So it's another neat thing we're doing for our kids that has everything to do with their education, and able to be getting good nutrition, and that helps learning. So that is my report.
Is it? Okay, thank you. School board report. Mrs. McKeithron.
Excited about the ribbon cutting at Rusty Jeffries. I have a work commitment, so I won't be able to be there, but I wanted to take a moment to thank the board of supervisors and the community for their support in this project. I think it's just one more building that we can be very proud of, and I appreciate all that. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Mr. Wells?
I'll add to that, the playground as well, and I think the school did an awful lot of that, but the county helped to get that going too. And so it shows that we do work well as a team. I was at the new teacher reception the first day, as were you, and I don't know, they keep letting teenagers teach school. But no, they all seem to have a good attitude. They all seem, I don't know, had many of them met each other before they even got there, but they certainly seemed to mingle, and there weren't any cool kids tables and nerd tables or anything like that. They kind of all got together. I mean, I guess they gravitated towards whichever school they're going to go to, but and everybody from the central office and from staff around the system who were there to greet them, I think they got a taste of what Warren County has to offer, and it was a good day.
Thank you. Mr. Williams?
Yes, that thing is loud. Good gosh. I think I'll sit back here. It's good to see how Superintendent Drescher and his whole staff has brought another school year together, and we're heading into it in about a week. So here we go. Whether ready or not, here we go. So excited to see another year and what accomplishments will our students and teachers produce. So that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Rosen?
Welcome back. School's in session. That's about it.
Okay, thank you. I also attended the new teachers' reception Monday morning and had a nice breakfast and enjoyed sitting down and talking to some of the new teachers. And I just wish all of our teachers and students a good year. Safety, I think we've put a lot of new things in place for their continued safety, and I hope everyone stays well and has a good year. Action agenda. Approval of community eligibility provision, CEP, E. Wilson Morrison Elementary School. Mrs. Shepherd.
Thank you. I'm so excited to present this agenda item tonight. The Virginia Department of Education has identified E. Wilson Morrison Elementary School as eligible for Community Eligibility Provision, CEP. CEP is part of the Healthy, Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010 and provides breakfast and lunch at no charge to all students enrolled at the school eligible for CEP funds. Federal funds are used to support this program. E. Wilson Morrison Elementary School has been approved by the Department of Education to receive this funding for a 4-year cycle. Be happy to answer any questions.
I don't have any questions. I think it's wonderful that all kids are eligible for this, and it's great program.
Motion.
What's that?
You want a motion?
Sure.
I move approval be given for E. Wilson Morrison Elementary School to participate in the Community Eligibility Provisions Program, in which all students who attend E. Wilson Morrison Elementary School receive breakfast and lunch at no charge.
Second.
All those in favor, aye? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. First reading, July 2018 VSBA School Board Policy Updates.
Just when we thought we were finished with policies for a minute. In July 2018, VSBA submitted 8 policies for consideration by the Warren County School Board. A chart showing the updated policies has been prepared by staff members noting the proposed changes. As this is the first reading of the proposed changes, there will be an opportunity to discuss the changes at the August 15th work session, and final approval for the changes is scheduled for the September 5th meeting. Be happy to answer any questions.
You're gonna do the same procedure, sort it out to who
Yes.
probably is the most appropriate person to review that and then get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Approve additional instructional assistant position. Mr. Hirsch.
Madam Chairperson, Mr. Superintendent, there is one, let me start by saying there is one correction on here. I did put the wrong school down. But due to the increased needs for student supports in the area of hearing impairments, and we do have students with hearing impairments at all of our schools, we are going to require additional instructional assistant position is being recommended to support Warren County High School. And the reason it's Warren County High School is as students that require American Sign Language and different types of interpreting services, the vocabulary increases dramatically. You can imagine sitting in a biology class without any additional needs. So we need an interpreter to be able to interpret on those in those specific difficult classes. So we'll be asking for a position to help support this population.
Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion. I move that the additional instructional assistant to support students with hearing impairments be approved.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank
you. The personnel report addendum, we don't need to do anything on that, do we?
We need to just approve it. We moved it to this
From the
position
consent.
because we just had to approve a position before we could actually approve the person to be in the position. So we just moved the personnel addendum to this point. So you just need to make a motion to approve the addendum.
Okay. Would someone like to offer that motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the addendum,
Yep, personnel addendum.
personnel addendum.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Discussions by school board. VSBA Legislative Advocacy Conference on September the 20th. If anyone is interested in attending that in Charlottesville, please let Mr. Ballantyne know. And then we have our annual VSBA convention, November 14th through the 16th in Williamsburg. And we still have time to let you know about that, right?
Plenty of time, I think till November 1st, maybe.
Okay. So I always look forward to that.
But we have rooms reserved for everyone, so.
Oh, yay. Where are we staying this year? We'll be at the lodge.
Excuse me, the
Woodland.
Woodlands? Okay. I know they've remodeled the lodge since we were down there last. Okay, we need to go into closed session now. Is there a motion for closed session?
This motion is made that this open public meeting of the Warren County School Board become a closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711. The school board desires to discuss the following matter in a closed meeting. Section 2.2-3711A1, discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of employees of the school board, specifically 3 employee personnel issues.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Ballantyne, please call roll.
Mrs. McEthron?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Mr. Rosen?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries. We are now in closed session.